everyone. Karen Warden with Film Courage, the radio show. We're here in studio after our interview with Andie Redwine and Stormwood, the filmmaking duo behind Paradise Recovered. And the film talks about religious abuse. It's a narrative regarding Esther Harris and her experience with leaving a group. And we decided to touch a little bit more on what draws people into these groups. What type of person would find themselves drawn to joining an organization that you refer to in the film, and maybe you can shed some light on that.
Sure.
Andie or Storm?
Sure. I mean, there's a cult for everybody. Everybody's vulnerable at different points in their lives, and so there really is a group for everybody. I think what happens is there's kind of an initiation process with a group. Somebody's vulnerable and they're looking for something, and usually a cult group will put out some kind of marketing tool, like a tract or a television show or a magazine or something, or even like street corner kinds of things where they'll reach out to somebody. The internet's another way that people do that. And so they kind of get this person interested. Maybe the person signs up for some free literature or whatever. Well, then they're in the mailing system. And then a technique that cults often use is something called love bombing. And what they'll do is they'll have people come to their house, they'll do drive-bys, they'll have people call them on the phone. Whatever information that they've given, the group will actually use that information to then contact that person. Which sounds like marketing, right? I mean, that's what you would do in marketing, although it's pretty pervasive. So you can imagine if somebody was pretty vulnerable, they would be pretty open to that kind of thing. So they're thinking about that. They're getting all this attention that's new, and they're reading this literature, and these kind of subtle things are hinted at. Well, you know, we know the truth. Like we have this understanding about this, and nobody else understands this the way we do. And tell us about you. Tell me about you. And then the information's kind of gathered, and then the message is kind of structured so that each individual then kind of, it works for them in that way. It works, the message is kind of tailored to who they are. So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and we all go through different life changes. This has been stuff I've been learning about too, because that's the exact question that I, had for Andie. And we've talked to a lot of experts at Wellspring, and I got to interview a few of those people, which is a resource center to help people who have been in different kinds of abusive relationships and cults and different groups. But it really, everybody goes through these times in their life where there's a big change in their life, or they're down about something, or they're just like a kid goes off to college and he wants to make a difference and he wants to do something important, or somebody just went through a divorce, or just all these different life changes that happen, where if they get to you at the right moment, that anybody is vulnerable to different ways of getting at you, and a lot of it is people who really want to do something good. They want to make a difference. They want to be part of something that is helping people, that means something, that matters, and so they get sort of love bombed into, this is the thing, this is what you've been looking for.
And not all cults are religious in nature either. There are business cults, there are therapy cults, there are all kinds of different groups that get people to do things that they wouldn't normally do. So if you see a loved one and they've joined this group and all of a sudden they have this real change in their personality, they've completely changed something, like a kind of overnight without a whole lot of forethought, or they're being kind of secretive, or they're saying, I don't really want to talk with you about this. And I think of 2 or 3 instances where people have come up to us at film festivals and said, my girlfriend, like I was dating this girl and all of a sudden she was gone, and we had no idea what happened to her, and she was in this group. And so it's this kind of insidious, people do it for friendship, people do it for love, and they'll do it for money because they think maybe they're going to make, if it's a business cult, they think they're going to make money. For therapy, maybe they've been abused, and then the therapist kind of gets involved in that. So there are all kinds of different groups that people can get involved in.
And what I would, just to add to the question, not wanting to take over, but the next natural thing I think that people ask is sort of like, well, I've been passionate about things, I've been into different groups. When does it cross a line? Like, how do you know you're not just in some group that is doing good? You are making a difference, and then what makes it cross a line into being a dangerous or a cult group where you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think for the danger kind of for me exists when you're cutting people out of your life. You're no longer involved with your family. You're no longer involved with your previous circle of friends, because like Storm, you and I are good friends, and like I know you're really passionate about film, and like if you told me that you were joining this new group and they were all about filmmaking, and I said that's fantastic, I would be supportive of you in that. And then if you said, but you can't come with me because you don't understand the truth of filmmaking. Like there's only really one way to do it. We all know that. I mean, you guys are filmmakers, so you know that there are more than one way to skin a cat, right? Every director is different. Every DP is different, right? And so to say there's only one way to do this would be crazy. And so, just as there are different kinds of people in the world, there are different kinds of religious practices, spiritual practices, whatever. I think when it crosses the line is when, too, that you start noticing that the person has a different language that they're using, where their doctrine becomes more important than the people around them, I'm trying to think of some of the other things that would be...
Just kind of clue you into like something going on that's not just like being enthusiastically involved in a group that's doing good. Like,
right. If somebody's moving all of a sudden, or they're marrying somebody kind of all of a sudden because they're in this group, or a lot of people, or they're making some, they're signing some contract with some group to, fulfill some destiny. It's kind of crazy. If it's all they talk about, or if either marked changes in personality, if all of a sudden they're acting out of character, I think those would be telltale signs that there's something not quite right. And again, we all do things. Like I recently became, vegetarian or vegan or whatever, and I mean there were some changes in me. I didn't lose my family. I didn't lose my friends. You know what I mean? I gained some new friends because of my interest, but nothing changed in that way. So that's where it's kind of different.
So what's the message you hope people will take away from the film after seeing it?
Well, you want me to go first?
Sure.
So, I hope there's some things specifically that we hope people are become more aware of how these, how pervasive some of this abuse is. And for me, more than that, just that on a human level, none of us is that far apart from the person, that we see on the street or that we meet in the health food store. That we're all, we're all struggling with the same things, and that we're all, what's important to all of us are basic, human needs, and that freedom is important, and that people shouldn't be, controlled and abused, and that we should be working together to, to help people find freedom, that we should be honest with each other, that we should, I hope it'll start conversations about these things, about faith, about truth, about religion and spiritual abuse, so that different people from different sides of life can talk about these things and come to a better understanding, and start to concentrate on the things that really are bad and evil and dark, and that we could all be working together to solve, instead of arguing about things that don't really matter.
Yeah, lots of groups will use like this kind of fear, and a lot of cult survivors, I hope, see this movie. I hope people that are in groups currently will see this movie if they're permitted by their group to do so. A lot of them can't watch movies, so information's controlled. So they're not allowed. Obviously, if they got too much information, then the whole system of the cult would break down. So again, I hope that they get a chance to watch this movie and just kind of see the control that's there, and you know, that there is a leader that's exploiting this for them, and it's heart-wrenching because, you know, these are people that really want, gosh, they really want to do good in the world, or they wouldn't be allying themselves with these groups. They really want to do good things, and so and then that gets exploited by a group that really just kind of wants them for the end game, which is, you know, a leader who's fairly narcissistic gets to be elevated, and then, you know, they reap the benefits of the power and the money and all that, and usually not-for-profit status as well, so they don't have to pay taxes, and that furthers the empire as well, the income. So.
And we hope people will be.
I'll come right back.
And you know, we hope that people will be. You know, I think, you know, in the end, we made a film that's enjoyable and entertaining, and, you know, compelling. And I hope that people, you know, enjoy it as a movie too.
We were at a film festival, and somebody asked Storm, you know, who do you want to see this film? And Storm answered, I want everyone on Earth to see this film.